You ever see one of those moments online that's so quick, so tiny, but somehow blows up like it's world-changing? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. The clip we're about to talk about is just 6 seconds long, a hug between Erika Kirk and Vice President Vance. And it's managed to divide the internet like nothing else this week. People are calling it inappropriate. Others say it's just a warm Christian hug. And now Joe Rogan has stepped in with his take. And you already know what happens when Rogan gives an opinion. The conversation shifts completely. So, let's break down what actually happened, why the internet lost its mind, and how Joe Rogan just became the voice of reason in one of the weirdest political viral moments of 2025. It all went down at a Turning Point USA event in late October. Erika Kirk, who's been carrying on her late husband Charlie Kirk's legacy, walked out under the bright lights of a packed arena to introduce Vice President Vance. The room was buzzing, one of those patriotic, high-energy crowds that Turning Point events always draw. Erika took the mic and said something that instantly caught attention.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
It was emotional, raw, and heartfelt. She was talking about faith, leadership, and purpose. But to the cameras and the audience at home, it came across complicated. Then Vance walked on stage. He gave her that polite, warm smile politicians have perfected, stepped in for what looked like a respectful embrace, and boom, that's the moment. Her hand slides up behind his neck, fingers brushing his hair, a quick pat. It lasts barely 2 seconds, but slow it down on Twitter, and it suddenly feels like 10. Someone freezes the frame. Another zooms in. Within an hour, screenshots are everywhere. One still image looks affectionate. Another looks totally innocent. But context doesn't matter. The image is what travels. By the next morning, Erika Kirk and Vance are trending worldwide. Meme accounts start posting captions like, 2028 power couple loading, or, that wasn't a hug, that was a moment. Political TikTokers break down the hug like it's a UFC replay, hand placement, posture, facial expressions, while body language experts compare it to romantic versus platonic hugs. Meanwhile, conservative and liberal Twitter are both losing it, but for completely different reasons. The left mocks the family values crowd for freaking out, while the right argues it looked too intimate and undermined Vance's clean-cut image. Mainstream outlets like People, India Today, and Times of India rush to clarify there's zero evidence of anything romantic. It was a public event, a quick embrace, full stop. But by then it's too late. The screenshots outnumber the facts. And of course, this is the kind of moment you just know Joe Rogan would have something to say about. He hasn't addressed it on his podcast yet, but you can already picture it. The dim studio, cigars on the table, Jaime queuing up the clip, a guest cracking a joke about the hug. Joe Rogan would probably laugh that classic Rogan laugh and say, "Man, you give the internet 6 seconds of human contact, and they'll build a whole Netflix series out of it." Then he'd shift into that thoughtful tone he's known for. This woman lost her husband. She's trying to keep his message alive. She's leading an organization. And people are out here dissecting a hug? Come on. He'd use it to make a larger point, that the internet is addicted to drama. Social media rewards outrage because real stories don't move fast enough. Politics isn't about policy anymore. It's about optics, thumbnails, and who hugged who. And if there's one thing Joe Rogan always reminds people of, it's that fame turns authenticity into performance. If you're famous, he'd say, everything you do is content. You can't just be genuine. Every facial twitch becomes a statement. Honestly, he'd be right. Beyond the memes and over-analysis, this moment highlights the pressure Erika Kirk is under. She's not just Charlie Kirk's widow. She's now the face of Turning Point USA. Charlie built that brand from the ground up. When he tragically passed, Erika didn't just lose her husband. She inherited his legacy, his responsibility, and his spotlight. And she's stepping into that role in an era where everything becomes content. That's why this hug hit people so strangely. To Charlie's fans, Erika wasn't just a public figure. She was his. So seeing her hug another man, especially someone as powerful as Vance, felt emotional. But to the audience, optics matter more than context. That's the world she's living in, where every smile, every touch, every word is analyzed through the lens of grief and legacy. Then there's Vance. the man quietly setting himself up for a future presidential run. Strategic, articulate, and appealing to the new conservative wave. But his image, wholesome, devout, traditional, took a hit with that viral hug. A week earlier, JD faced backlash for saying he hoped his Hindu wife might one day convert to Christianity, a comment many called tone deaf. Combine that controversy with this viral hug, and you've got a PR storm. But JD Vance handled it like a pro, calm, collected, and professional. She goes in for the hug, he gives a polite squeeze, steps back, adjusts his jacket, and goes straight into his speech. No tension. No awkwardness. This moment, intentional or not, shows how fragile public perception is in the internet age. To really get why this blew up, look at what Erika Kirk and JD Vance represent. Faith and family. Charlie Kirk was known for preaching strong Christian values. Erika continues that message. So when she said JD Vance reminds her of Charlie, people projected their own narratives, romantic, emotional, controversial. That's what this story is really about. Not a hug, but how people interpret faith, power, and modern conservatism. When Erika Kirk stepped up to carry the Turning Point torch, many underestimated her. But she's proven herself. Confident, emotional, fiery, and deeply committed. That's why this hug went viral. It symbolized a transition, Charlie's legacy meeting JD Vance's political future. Still, it creates tension. Every move Erika makes now will be compared to Charlie's. People will keep asking, is she honoring his legacy or rewriting it? And that's the impossible balance she's walking. Grief in the public eye is brutal. When you lose someone, there's no right way to cope. Some isolate. Others keep moving. Erika chose the latter in speeches, smiles, and hugs, while still healing. But the internet doesn't give grace. It sees performance, not pain. That's why this moment felt so amplified. Empathy gets turned into speculation. Humanity gets turned into content. In the end, this isn't about a hug. It's about perception, grief, politics, and the impossible standards we place on public figures. As Joe Rogan would say, the internet's starving for drama. It's not enough to see people doing their jobs. We need scandal, emotion, something to argue about. But sometimes, a hug is just a hug, because sometimes, two people can share a genuine human moment in a world that's forgotten what humanity looks like. And for Erika Kirk, navigating grief, legacy, and leadership all at once, that might be the hardest thing of all.